two look good together, I want you to take a deep breath for me. This goes by super fast, so enjoy every second of this, okay? Marcus, Taylor, what I'm going to do right now is charge you with a few things that I believe if you will do these things, they are foundational truths that I believe that if you'll do these things in this relationship, it'll go incredibly well for the two of you. Obviously, I don't have all the time to go into everything that makes you, or makes a healthy marriage, but a couple things that I hope that you will never forget. I'm going to take a section from the Bible, I'm going to personalize it and put your names into it. It starts with this verse in the book of Ephesians. It says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Submit to one another. A couple things that I want to bring out in that. First off, this is an equal partnership that the two of you are entering into. Second, there's a lie in the world that says if you give 50% of your effort and you give 50% of your effort, the two of you make 100% whole. That's just not true. In order for this to work, you have to give 100% of your effort at all times. If you were perfect human beings, that would be no problem. But there's not a single one of us that's perfect. And so there'll be times where you're at 70%, 60%, or maybe even below 50. I want to remind you that as you submit to one another, if you find yourself struggling, if you find yourself not getting along, it's because one, if not both of you, have gotten below 100%. Get back to giving 100%. And if you'll do that, I think you can turn that thing around very quickly. And it also reminds me that you are entering into a covenant of marriage and not a contract. A contract is based on performance, and I talked to the two of you, and I just want to remind you that if she doesn't live up to your expectations of what a wife should be, you know what? If you were entering into a contract, you could get out of this relationship. Or if Marcus messes up, and he'll probably mess up sometime tonight. If you were entering into a contract of marriage, you could get out of this marriage. But the truth is, you both told me that you were entering into a covenant of marriage, and I want to remind you what a covenant is. A covenant is your vows that you say to one another, which basically says this: I'm in this for the rest of my life. And it doesn't matter the performance aspect of it. What matters is what I promised to you on August 31st of 2018. Never forget that as you submit to one another. It goes on and says this: Taylor, submit to Marcus as to the Lord, for Marcus is the head of this marriage, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he's Savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also Taylor, submit to Marcus in everything. Now, Taylor, I need to stop for a second, because this is one of the most misused scriptures of all time. What the world teaches, what the world has taught is this: that scripture says that he's your master, you're the slave, and you have to do whatever he tells you to do. I'm just going to say, how's that going to go? Not very good. I don't think that's what God intended. As a matter of fact, let me prove it to you. He starts by saying, submit to one another. This is an equal partnership. So what is God trying to say when he says, wives, submit to your husband? I believe what God is asking you to do is give your heart to this man in a way that you've never given your heart to any other person. Let me tell you just one quick thing about what I have found in regards to women and wives. They, by very nature, are protectors. We don't call them mama bear for anything, or for no reason. It's because inside of you, there's a desire to protect. And the number one thing that you want to protect is your heart. And what God is asking you to do is, will you go against your very nature to protect your heart and give it away to this man? Which means you tell him everything that makes you who you are. You tell him what makes you happy, sad, makes you angry, or incredibly joyful. You tell him your opinion about everything, what the color of the car should be, what color the walls and carpet are going to be. You tell him everything. And if you will do that, if you will make yourself vulnerable, he will not think less of you, but he will lift you higher and higher and higher as you give more and more of your life and your heart to him. I've been married for almost 25 years, Taylor. And when my wife is open and I know where she's at, it's been the best days of my life. But on the flip side, when she's pulled her heart back and she's protecting it and she's not sharing what's going on in her life, it's been some of the darkest days of my life. Share your heart with this man. Give him everything that you are. It goes on and says this: Marcus loved Taylor just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy. In the same way, Marcus, love Taylor as your own body. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated his own body, but he feeds and he cares for it, just as Christ does the church. Marcus, the example given to you and I as husbands, the example is Jesus Christ dying for the church. Now, I have no doubt that you would physically die for this woman, but my charge to you this day is, will you die to the things that you want, the things that you need, in order to nurture and care for her heart? Because if she's going to go against her nature and give herself to you, you have to go against your very nature, which is to make it your own, to make the decisions on your own. We live in a world that says, hey, just do whatever makes you feel right. You have to go against that nature and die to it in order to nurture and care for her heart. So I'm going to make it super simple because I'm a guy and I need it super simple. So I'm going to have you ask yourself one question for the rest of your life. And that question is this: is what I'm doing or is what I'm saying opening or closing Taylor's heart? And if you will do the things that you know will open her heart, oh man, will it go really well with you. But it's when you do things or say things that you know will close her heart, that's when you'll find that this marriage will struggle. Die to yourself and nurture and care for this heart. Now, I wish that was the only thing that you would have to die to, but there's one other thing I want to encourage you or charge you today to die to. There's a thing that us men have that's called an ego. An ego keeps us talking about weather, sports, hobbies, work, keeps us really on the surface level of things. And Taylor wants to know about those things without a doubt. But what she really wants to know.
Taylor doesn't like small talk.
But what she really wants to know is how you feel about those things. Now, we're not good as men sharing our feelings, and I don't care if you tell another human being on this planet about how you feel about things. But when it comes to this relationship, you need to give your heart to this woman. Tell her how you feel. Tell her the things that upset you, that make you afraid, that bring you joy and bring you happiness. Give your heart to this woman. Die to that ego when it comes to this relationship. Now, it finishes by saying this: husbands, love your wife. Now, interesting little bit of biblical trivia. There's nowhere in the Bible where it says, wives, love your husband. Now, I think that's because that naturally flows from who you are as a woman. But us men, God knew we needed to be reminded. Now, I'm going to charge you with this final charge, and that is this. Marcus, just because you put rings on one another's fingers today doesn't mean it's done. You have to win this woman's heart every day, every week, every month, every year. Find new ways to keep winning her heart. Keep dating her, keep wooing her, keep pursuing her. You did something right because you're here today. Keep that going. And it finishes that section of verse by saying this: and wives, respect your husband. I tell wives this: their husband can lose everything, come to financial ruin. But if their woman, if their wife will look at them with eyes of respect and say respectful things to them like, hey, it's going to be okay. I know you're going to get us through this. You're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. And I love you. Just things of respect like that. This man will stand tall and go, oh, I got Taylor behind me. It's all good. But when you have disrespect in your eyes, when you speak words of disrespect, that's the thing that can crush him, like him not loving you would crush you. It's the power you have in loving this woman and the power you have in respecting this man. Do these things, and I believe the two of you will have an incredibly healthy relationship and marriage. Ladies, you look absolutely beautiful. Gentlemen, you clean up very nicely. Marcus and Taylor wanted me to just say thank you to everyone that's here today. I know you've traveled, some of you. You've given up your afternoon to be a part of here and your evening at the reception tonight. They wanted me to stop and just say thank you. But I want you to know that you are close family and friends to this couple, and they have asked you and invited you to this ceremony, not just to watch them get married, but because they want your help for the rest of their lives. And that's a big thing that they've asked from all of you. And here's the truth. The Bible says that we have the power of life and death in our words, which means this: because you are family and friends to this couple, you're going to hear good things about this relationship. You're going to hear bad things about this relationship. And from time to time, you may actually hear really ugly, negative things come out of their mouths about one another. When that happens, I'm not saying if. I want you to catch what I'm saying. When that happens, bring them back to this day. Bring them back to the love that they have for one another. Remind them of how crazy they are about each other. Because if it's true we have the power of life and death in our words, when you're in their presence and hear those things, You have the ability to take this couple down the road of divorce or down the road of reconciliation by what you say in that moment. Bring them back to this day. Remind them how much they love one another. Marcus, understanding how God views this marriage, do you take this woman to be your wife, to love her by dying to yourself daily, to protect and care for her heart for the rest of your life? All right, well then I know you have written something for her, and then after that you will repeat a section of vows to her.
So Taylor, you know me better than anyone else in this world and somehow still manage to love me. You are my best friend and one true love. There is still a part of me today that cannot believe that I'm the one who is to marry.
Oh, I love you too. Thank you.
Okay, well then, looking her in the eyes, would you repeat after me? Taylor,
Taylor,
you know me better than anyone else
you know me better than anyone else
in this world.
in this world.
And somehow,
And somehow,
you still manage to love me.
you still manage to love me.
You are my best friend
You're my best friend
and my true love.
and my true love.
There is still a part of me
There is still a part of me
that cannot believe
that cannot believe
that I am the one
that I am the one
who gets to marry you. I love you.
who loves you.
So I, Marcus,
I, Marcus,
take you, Taylor,
take you, Taylor,
to be my lawfully
to be my lawfully
wedded wife,
wedded wife,
to have and to hold
to have and to hold
from this day forward,
from this day forward,
for better, for worse,
for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer,
for richer, for poor,
in sickness and in health,
in sickness and in health,
until death do us part.
until death do us part.
Really nice. Taylor, understanding how God views this marriage, do you take this man to be your husband, to share your heart and all that you are with him, and care for him for the rest of your life?
Thank you.
All right. I know that you have written something as well that you'd like to share. You're going to repeat after me your notes.
It all started 12 years ago. Through the twists and the turns of early adulthood, high school, college, and growing pains, you were there. After almost 6.5 years, we parted ways to find ourselves and thought that was goodbye. There were other plans that we were unaware of. You're the one person who can make me laugh in any type of moment. You're the strongest teammate that I know will always have my back. You understand what I'm thinking with just a look, and most of all, you're my memory when I've forgotten parts of who I really am. When I've always pictured my future, it always involved one thing: laughter. I believe laughing is an essential part to riding the waves of this crazy, beautiful life, and you are one funny person. You are also driven, adventurous, and caring. You put our family first, and you always make sure that Gabriella and I are happy and content. You are not just a great partner, you're a great dad. The moments I catch you and Gabby laughing together are the definition of what this is all about. I vow to be faithful to you both physically and emotionally. I vow to love you unconditionally on the good days and even on the days you are severely annoying. I vow to always be your teammate, your cheerleader, and your best friend. I vow to open myself up to you and to remain vulnerable. I vow to try to hang up more of my clothes and to also not spend all of our money on home decor at Target and caramel macchiatos. Most of all, I vow to be with you through the thick and thin, the moments we will lean on one another, or through thick and thin, and the moments we will lean on one another. I love you, Marcus, and I'm so happy I get to grow and experience life with you by my side. I love you too.
Please repeat after me. I, Taylor,
I, Taylor,
take you, Marcus,
take you, Marcus,
as my lawfully wedded husband,
as my lawfully wedded husband,
to have and to hold
to have and to hold
from this day forward,
from this day forward,
for better, for worse,
for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer,
for richer, for poor,
in sickness and health,
in sickness and health,
until death do us part.
until death do us part.
Marcus, do you have a token of your love, Taylor? I mean, you keep looking at her. Dang, this is nice, guys. Hey, I make light of this, but here's the truth. These rings are made out of precious metal and precious stones. And as you wear these rings, I want you to remember how precious this relationship is. There's not another relationship in the universe like the one the two of you have. And so as you wear these rings, never forget that. It is also a never-ending circle which represents that covenant that we talked about just a little bit ago. Never forget, as you play with these rings on your finger with your thumb, I want you to remember, oh yeah, I've entered into something that's going to last the rest of my life. Never forget that. Taking this ring, placing it on her ring finger, would you look at her and repeat after me? I, Marcus,
I, Markus,
give to you, Taylor,
give to you, Taylor,
this ring
this ring,
as a symbol of my commitment
as a symbol of my commitment
to love,
to love,
honor,
honor,
and respect you.
and respect.
Taylor, do you have a token of your love for Marcus? All right. Before I have you place this on his finger, one other thing that I want to remind the two of you, and I hope you'll never forget this. There's a verse in the Bible that says, one can be overpowered, two can defend themselves, and a cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. The fact that the two of you are now married means that you are stronger together. You have one another's back, you can support each other, and you can help each other. If you tie a relationship with God into this marriage, you become a cord of 3 strands that's not quickly broken. The example of God's love for us in the Bible, the example is a wedding. It's a wedding. He's proud to call you daughter. He's proud to call you son. And never forget that as you wear these rings. Placing this on his left ring finger, again looking at him, would you please repeat after me? I, Taylor,
I, Taylor,
give to you, Marcus,
give to you, Marcus,
this ring
this ring
as a symbol of my commitment
as a symbol of my commitment
to love,
to love,
honor,
honor,
and respect you.
and respect you.
Hold hands again for me, if you would. I'd like to pray a blessing over the marriage and over the two of you. But before I do that, I want to share a quote that I recently heard with the two of you. And the quote is this: love is friendship caught fire. Love is friendship caught fire. Now, you both have mentioned that you're best friends with one another. And I want you to stand on that friendship for the rest of your life. I believe best friends can make it through anything. The quote symbolizes what happens when friendship catches fire. Oh, you get to feel the feeling of love. But the truth is, the feeling of love, it comes and goes. It's not always at this great pinnacle where it is today. Sometimes it wanes. When it wanes, stand on that friendship. And when that friendship catches fire, oh, enjoy every second of it.